This video we will solve a question on Cournot equilibrium in case of duopoly. The question is find the Cournot equilibrium if the market demand function is, that is Q, which is the total output produced by two firms, is equal to 3200 minus 1600 P, where P is the market price. Q is equal to the output of firm 1, which is Q1 plus Q2 output of firm 2, and cost function of the two firms are total cost of firm 1 is 0.25 Q1 and cost function of firm 2 is 0.5 Q2. We need to find out the Cournot equilibrium quantities. Okay, so what happens in Cournot equilibrium or Cournot duopoly? Firms compete in terms of quantities, how much one firm will choose to produce given the output produced by other firm. Okay, so here we have two firms. To find out the Cournot equilibrium, we need to find out the reaction functions of the two firms. Okay, by reaction function what we mean I will explain. So let's first find out the reaction function of firm 1. So to find out the reaction function of firm 1, we need to find out the profit maximizing output that firm 1 will produce, and the condition is that we will equate the marginal revenue of firm 1 with the marginal cost of firm 1. Okay, so we are being given this demand function. So let me write it here. Q is equal to 3200 minus 1600 P. First we need to find out the inverse demand function, that is we need to solve this for P. Transpose it here, transpose it there, so we will get this will become positive. So we have 1600 P is equal to 3200 minus, so it will become negative Q. Divide both sides by 1600. Here we also divide by 1600. Since we only need P on LHS, so we have here 1600. So this gets cancelled. 1600 twos are, so we will get P is equal to 2 minus 1 upon, or let's write it here, 1 upon 1600 Q. Okay, this is the market demand function that we need to find out first. So this is inverse demand function. So our inverse demand function is, that is P is equal to 2 minus 1 upon 1600 Q. Now we know that Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. So can I write in place of Q as Q1 plus Q2? I can write. So first we need to find out the reaction function of firm 1. For that we equate the marginal revenue of firm 1 with the marginal cost of firm 1. So marginal revenue will be derived from the total revenue of the firm 1, which will be equal to price times the output of firm 1. So P is this very function. So we have 2 minus 1600 Q1 plus, rather minus 1600 Q2. To this we multiply by Q1 to get the total revenue of firm 1. So total revenue of firm 1 is equal to twice Q1 minus Q into Q is Q1 square, so we get Q1 square divided by 1600 minus, then we have Q1 times Q2 divided by 1600. Then we need to find out the marginal revenue of firm 1. So marginal revenue of firm 1 will be the change in the total revenue of firm 1 due to the change in the output of firm 1. That is the partial derivative of this revenue function with respect to Q1. So derivative of Q1 is 1. We are left with 2 in the first equation. In the first term, derivative of Q1 square is 2 Q1. So we get minus twice Q1 divided by 1600. And here the derivative of Q1 is 1. So we are left with Q2 divided by 1600. Okay. This is the marginal revenue function of firm 1. Now for profit maximization, we equate it with the marginal cost of firm 1. So total cost of firm 1 is being given as 0.25 Q1, which can be written as 1 upon 25 upon 100 Q1, which will be equal to 25 ones are 25 fours are. So we get 1 upon 4 Q1. This is the total cost of firm 1. Now marginal cost, as you know, it is simply the change in the total cost due to the change in the output. So that is the derivative of this function with respect to Q1. So derivative of Q1 is 1. We are left with 1 upon 4. So that will be the marginal cost of firm 1. So marginal cost of firm 1 is equal to 1 upon 4. So we equate marginal revenue with marginal cost. So marginal revenue is 2 minus twice Q1 upon 1600 minus Q2 divided by 1600, and it should be equal to the marginal cost, which is 1 upon 4. Let us solve it here. Okay, I don't need to mess it up here. So if I transpose this term here and this term there, what happens? So we will get 2 minus 1 upon 4 is equal to twice Q1 divided by 1600. It will become positive, and this will also become positive 1600. So we have 4 2s are 8, minus 1 is 7 upon 4 is equal to, basis denominator is same, we can add up the numerator. So we get twice Q1 plus Q2 divided by 1600. So twice Q1 plus Q2 will be equal to, so we have 7 upon 4, transpose it here, it gets multiplied. So we have 1600 here. So 4 1s are, 4 4s are, so we get here 400 into 7. So twice Q1 plus Q2 is equal to 2800. Since we need to solve it for Q1. So twice Q1 will be equal to 2800 minus Q2, divide both sides by 2, so Q1 will be equal to 1400 minus 1 upon 2 Q2. Okay, so let me write it here. So we will get Q1 is equal to 1400 minus 1 upon 2 Q2. So what does this tell us? This is the reaction function of firm 1. It simply tells us that since firms compete in terms of output, it shows how much output firm 1 will choose given firm 2 has chosen it as optimal output. Okay, so how does firm 1 react in terms of output given firm 2 has chosen it as optimal output? Okay, so this is the reaction function of firm 1. Now we need to find out the reaction function of firm 2 also. So using same technique here, so total revenue, as we know, total revenue of firm 2 will be equal to, that will be equal to P into Q2, which is equal to twice 2 minus 1 upon 16, or let me write it here. So this term, so total revenue of firm 2 will be equal to 2 minus 1600 times Q1 minus 1 upon 1600 times Q2. This time we multiply it by Q2, and we will get total revenue of firm 2 will be equal to twice Q2 minus Q1 Q2 divided by 1600 minus Q2 square upon 1600. Okay, when we find out the marginal revenue of firm 2, that is the change in the total revenue of firm 2 due to the change in the output of firm 2. So to partially differentiating with respect to Q2, derivative of Q2 is 1, we are left with minus, rather 2, minus here derivative of Q2 is 1, we are left with Q1 upon 1600, and here derivative of Q2 square is twice Q2 divided by 1600. Okay, now we need to what we call find out the marginal cost of firm 2. So since total cost of firm 2 is equal to 0.5 Q2, marginal cost will be its derivative, that is the derivative of total cost of firm 2 with respect to Q2, which will be equal to, so derivative of Q2 is 1, we are left with 0.5, so we can write it as 1 upon 2. Okay, so equating marginal revenue with marginal cost of marginal revenue of firm 2 with the marginal cost of firm 2, we will get 2 minus Q1 upon 1600 minus twice Q2 divided by 1600 should be equal to 1 upon 2. Transpose it here, and that very stuff there. So we will get 2 minus 1 upon 2 is equal to, these will become positive, Q1 upon 1600 plus twice Q2 divided by 1600. So 2 minus 1 upon 2 is this gets 4 and 2 2s are 4 and 3, so we'll get here 3 upon 2. Okay, so 3 upon 2 is equal to, base in denominator is same, we can add the exponents, so rather numerator q1 plus twice q2 upon 1600. Okay, which implies q1 plus twice q2 is equal to 3 upon 2, transpose it here, it gets multiplied 1600. So 2 ones are 2 8s are, so we get 800 into 3, which is 60. q1 plus twice q2 is equal to 8 3s are 2400. So since we need to solve it for, what should I write? So how do we find out the space? Let me wrap this out here. Okay, so q1, since we need to solve for q2 here, so twice q2 is equal to 2400, transpose it here, it becomes minus q1, divide both sides by 2, q2 will be equal to 1400 minus 1 upon 2 q1. This is the reaction function of firm 2. It shows how much quantity firm 2 should produce given firm 1 has chosen it as optimal quantity. Okay, so we have the two reaction functions now. This is the reaction function of firm 2. Okay, graphically, if we have, let us say this is RF1, then we have reaction function RF2. So this point will give us the optimal quantity of firm 1 and optimal quantity of firm 2. Okay, so if we have q1 on this side and q2 on this side. Now, so to find out the optimal quantities produced by the Cournot firms, we equate their reaction functions. Since q1 is this step, q2 is this step, let us plug the value of q2 in this equation. So q1 will be equal to 1400 minus 1 upon 2, the value of q2. We write 1400 minus 1 upon 2 q1. So it will become q1 minus 1400 minus 1400 upon 2 is 700, minus into minus is plus, 1 upon 4 q1. So q1 is equal to here. Transpose it here, so we get q1 minus 1 upon 4 q1 is equal to 1400 minus 700 is 700. So so we get 3 q1 upon 4 is equal to 700, which implies q1 is equal to 700 into, transpose it, it becomes 4 upon 3. Okay, so this will be the output of firm 1. So firm 1 should produce 2800 upon 3, which will be equal to 3 1s are 3, 3 7s are 3, rather we get 3 9s are 27. I think so the TMS even 3 3s are 9. I think be 900. Okay, something 900. It should be 3-digit number. So let me rewrite it again. So q1 is equal to 2800 upon 3, which is equal to 3 9s are 27, 28 I think 3 3s are 9, I think be 3 3s are 9.3. Okay, so this is the output of firm 1. Now to find out the output of firm 2, what we do, we plug the value of q1 is equal to 933 into this function. So we have q2 will be equal to 1400 minus 1 upon 2 q1, which is 933, or let's take only the integral value here. So which will be equal to 1400 minus 2 1s are 2 4s are 8, I think 2 6s are 12, I think 2 6s are 12. So 1400 minus 466, I am taking the rough value here. So when we subtract it will become 10.4 9.3. Okay, then we get 10.4 9.3 now 934 will be the units produced by. So Q1 is equal to 933. I am not sure about the calculation. So Q2 is equal to 934. I can make some mistakes unintentionally, so please check it with yourself. I hope I make myself clear in this video. Thank you.